Hello and welcome to this exclusive interview with my friend, my idol, Miss Thu Le, who is a master at classical guitar. I first got to know her by YouTube. My friend recommended her channel, and I fell in love with how she performs, how she commands the stage. And today I'm so happy and so honored to have this opportunity to interview you and to share with you, to my audience and to your audience as well. Thu Le, how are you?
Hi, Quynh. Hello, everyone. It's great to see you again.
You know what? I so love how you hold a guitar and how you play with it and how you play with the audience when you play with this guitar. Share with us your, and then this purpose of this interview is to share you and I wanted to get to know the baby Thu Le, the adolescent Thu Le, and the adult Thu Le, where you're at right now, and just what you do, what you had to go through to get to where you are right now to play at this mastery level. So shall we start at the baby stage? I remember you said that your dad taught you guitar when you were just 4 years old. Oh my gosh, tell us about that. Do you remember anything about that?
Yes, thank you for your beautiful words. Uh, it is a very long journey until today. Well, that means I'm not so young anymore.
Well, you
But
still look young. You still look very young.
I hope so. Yes, it's a long journey, but of course there are some of the moments from childhood time and along my life I can never forget. The journey with my guitar, the starting with my dad, and it was it was a long and not an easy journey, but I'm I'm happy I'm here nowadays. I'm glad and feeling thankful for what I've been. And of course, the one that I would have to say thanks the most is my beloved father, who was actually he was a painter, but he also played guitar professionally at that time. And he had me is the only daughter. So and to tell you, he actually very funny because he was always a very unusual man. Because at the time in Vietnam, everyone wants to have a child or a boy. But
Yes.
my father said that I want a daughter. And even my grandparent was like, no, no, you have to make son. You need to have a son, and you are the oldest son in the family. But my
Right.
father said, I know, I want a daughter. So the moment my mother had me as a daughter, he said that no more children because
What?
the hotel
Wow.
nanny said that
This is
I
this your father is totally unusual, that's for sure.
yeah, so he, at the year, I was born in 78. So at that time, he already wanted to prove to everyone, to Vietnam at the time, that you don't need to have a son. You can have a daughter, you can make her study, she can be successful, she can have a power of a man, she can change the whole opinion about son or daughter. So yes, having me as a daughter, he was very happy, and I didn't know much at the time. I was too young, but many years later, him or my mother used to tell me story about how excited he was to teach me guitar and couldn't wait for me to have the first performance. So he told me that he used to play guitar for my mom when she was pregnant. And
He probably won her heart with his guitar as well, didn't he?
oh yes.
Oh, man with the guitar. Damn those
They didn't
guys.
tell me, but I guess so. Well, yes, go to learn guitar, every man. And when I was born, when I was a baby, he said that when I cried, he used to play to comfort me. And until I was 2 or 3 years old, already he let me play with the guitar. And then he bought me a tiny, small little guitar, the quarter size. And he started to teach me seriously when I was 4 years old. Not that I remember much the beginning days. What I could remember was around when I was 5 years old. I had my first performance with him and sharing with some other guitarists in Hanoi at that time, in Trang Tien Theater. At that time, I don't know if you know the theater. That was like the main theater in the city center. So yes, this was a very long journey. There are some memory that forever. I remember the first performance, how I started to study at the conservatory when I was 7 years old with other teachers. You know, my teacher was Vũ Bảo Lâm, and then Nguyễn Hải Thoại. They are all like the legendary guitar of Vietnam at that time. And I was very lucky to be able to study with them and to start the National Conservatory at the very early age.
Were you the youngest student at that time? I can't imagine who's younger than you.
Yes, I remember the rule. They say that they accept students from 8 years old. Of course, the whole rule at the time was very different. You didn't study right away the university level. It's like you gonna start with the elementary school, and then 7 years, and then 4 years at the middle school, and then the last 4 years is university level. So I started from the first level, and it should be 8 years old, but I was only 7. Yeah. And I got accepted. And I still remember clearly that day, the emotion of my father, how he came home and he was, after seeing the result, and he was crying, literally. Wow. He was crying. Wow. Of happiness. Yeah. And I was too small to feel much difference, you know, because every day I practice, I go to school, I come home, I practice. Now I study one more school. So I was 7 years old and I started to study in the conservatory, which make 2 schools I have to do every day.
It's beautiful that your dad is so proud of you, and you made him proud since you were like a baby with all of this talent. I have a question though. When you were that young and you had to practice on the guitar that much, that young, didn't you feel the pain? Didn't you resent your father for making you learn something that hurt so much?
Well, you know, to be honest, it was painful. And I still remember how painful it was. And at the time, we didn't have nylon string guitars. We play on the steel string. And the steel string, it gets rusty very quickly. And when it gets rusty, it's even more painful. And so what we could do is practice. When it's painful, you rest a bit, and then you start again. I didn't blame my father. I didn't feel that my life is so hard because I had nothing to compare with. I know that this is my routine. This is my job. I go to school, I come back, I practice guitar, and my father was working always at home because he was just painting at home. He was there painting, and I'm just next to him playing guitar. Life couldn't be more beautiful because you have nothing else to look up to compare.
That's the beauty of childhood. When you don't see nothing else out there, but you know what? You have friends, and your friends probably had time to play a lot more than you, and yet you still didn't have any jealousy of how much time of play they get to have and not you.
You know, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, the only 2 friends I had in the neighborhood was a sister and brother, and they were both studying violin. Oh. So they were in the same situation like me. They also had to practice, and then their father also pushed them hard to practice. My father is there, so we are like, later on we used to make joke that it was like competition. If he's practiced in that house, in this house, my father would look at me like, he's practiced. How about you?
Oh, that is so good. You know what? You were a good child. So you know what? What about growing up, being a teen? Did you rebel? Was there any rebellious blood in you, and like wanted to break out and break free from the guitar at all?
Well, you know, the thing is, as I'm teaching my own children and also many other students, I could understand that, you know, as a teenager, they are very difficult. I wouldn't say it out loud because my children will hear it. So one day they are nice, they practice. The next day they say that they don't feel like practicing. But in my case, at that time, I didn't have choice because I studied in the conservatory. That means, want it or not, the exam is coming and you have to complete. So it's like a normal school that I also went. you don't want, but you have to do it. So I admit that I went through some stages like this, plus I was so busy, you know, with the same time with the normal school and then exam in the conservatory. It's just too much, and sometimes I don't practice. But if I don't practice this month, then the next month when it's near the exam date, I have to work double. So it was my choice to do it now equally or not to do it at all now and next month do double. So I just has no choice. It's like you are locked up there and you just have no way out. But then many years later, when I was an adult, when I already grown up, thinking back, I realized that in a way I feel very thankful for that type of, how to say, responsibility, pressure, that it shaped me and it keep me staying in the journey, because otherwise one could easily drop out because you don't have the responsibility. And yes, I feel like sometimes come to education, you just have to be strong, to have responsibility, and to be in a situation that you can't give up. And yes, I remember, and unfortunately also my parent divorced when I was soon after I entered the conservatory. The divorce, I stayed with my mother, and every weekend I came to my father to study with him and to visit him. So I remember that there was some week that the whole week I didn't practice at all. And only on Saturday I came to his house. If I'm in his house, I have to practice. And he could tell that I didn't practice the whole week. And of course, the normal excuse, I'm so busy, there's so much homework at other school, I have to help mom with this and that. And I remember how he looked at me like he really understand. But then now that I'm a mother, thinking back, I realized that, yes, he knew on the trick. Because
you couldn't lie to him, right? He can see right through you.
Yes, but the heart of the parent, of the father, is so big that he didn't ask me why, he didn't force me. He showed that he understands my situation. But then only now, when I'm a mother, I understand that how would you react to your own children. So that is a very kind of him, a very patient way of him to deal with a teenager. And also I learned from it a lot to deal with my children now, because honestly, I have a 16 and a 13. It's not easy.
You know what? And they're two against one. They're getting up against you.
Oh yes, sometimes they're against each other, but most of the time they team up together and against the parents. So, you know, it's
interesting. You know what? I was curious. So that means you achieve stardom at a very young stage. And I mean stardom as in you worked hard and you earned it. You earned the right, and you perform on stages. And of course you were popular at a very young age. Did that get to your ego, or did that affect your cycle at all growing up, having known that, oh my gosh, I have to continue to keep playing this well, I have to keep growing, I don't want to stop here?
you know what, for me, I feel, again, I need to say thankful to my father or to my parents, who were actually very strict. But then at the same time, I never feel that kind of pressure. I don't feel like the pressure I have is so much, because they give me freedom in the limit. So in that limit, he said that as long as you complete your exam, you do well, you can still go out with friends. If you have a birthday party, you can attend. I never had to lie to them like some other people that I know.
Ouch, that hurts. That's like me. That was me for sure.
So about this point, I appreciate them a lot, that still give me all kind of freedom. I can dress whatever I want. I can go out. I can have a freedom. So they give me choices. And then the moment you have choices, you feel like your responsibility is bigger, and you don't against them, but you respect them more. So in this point, I feel like I just feel thankful. I appreciate. I don't remember I would have any ego or pressure or anything. Of course, I'm very happy of what I'm doing, not arrogant or proud, because, you know, again, the situation of the whole country is like this now. Everybody just trying very hard. All the parents are busy working just to make living. And our job is studying. Of course, the better you study, the more happy you feel, and your parent will be proud of you. So as a child, I felt like this is my job, because my parents have also a very hard job to make a living and to invest in me.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is my job. I don't feel it's pressure. I just feel like, as a good child, this is the least you could do. And of course, I had a dream. I always, since I was 5 years old, that I could remember, since I had the first concert, I already very clear in my head that I want to be a guitarist and I want to perform in the big stage. But at that time, there was no such thing as thinking about going overseas. There's no such thing. You know, for me to go to the countryside, like 40 kilometers away from Hanoi, is already, wow, it's already the trip.
Yeah.
So I couldn't dream of being an international artist, but I always loved to perform. And my father told me that I used to play even better when I performed than when I practice at home.
Wow.
But I guess when I was very young and I didn't feel nervous on the stage. That came later.
So the nervous, when do you start becoming nervous then?
Well, I guess as I grown up, maybe about 15, 16, as you start to be aware of things, aware of yourself, I started to be nervous. But younger than that, you know, you are a child, you just don't care. You play here, play there. When people clap, you feel more happy. You know, it's like when you get compliment, you shine even more.
Yes.
But when I was about 15, 16, I remember I started to feel very nervous. And I could feel that some concert, that was at the time concert, which is in guitar club in Hanoi, or the exam in my conservatory, that I start to feel nervous, and I felt like I didn't play as well as when I practiced at home.
Oh.
And so that gave me a brand new experience, and also a brand new world to learn that there are so much more into the performing arts. It's not always easy as practice a lot, get on stage, play well, and then people clap.
Yes.
I start to be aware of nervousness, of accident could happen on stage, of sometimes that how you're disappointed and you feel pity that just a few mistakes, otherwise I would make it perfect. You know, so I realized that this is like it's a performance. You have one shot to make it. If you don't make it, if you fail, you lose it. And the only thing you could do is just learn it for next time. But then every time, if you look at it, it's not as a loss, but as an experience to gain, to prepare better next time, to know that, okay, if I make mistake here, maybe I should practice slowly again, repeat that part a lot. So the next concert, if I play that piece, I will avoid the same mistake. So yes, in everything you do, as we all know, you make mistake, that's how you learn, right?
For sure.
So,
actually, you know what? Tell us about your first love. Because I would imagine when you were that young and that famous already, I would imagine you had a lot of secret admirers and followers and perhaps people who just want to become your friends or want to date you and all that. Tell me more.
well, you know, you might not believe, but I am still very shy, but I was a very shy girl, always very shy, maybe because I'm the only daughter, and maybe because my parents divorced when I was too young, and I always felt not confident about myself. I knew that, and I still think that I was ugly, you know, for Vietnamese. Even my friends or my neighbors or people around bullying a lot, that, oh, shorty, and why are you from countryside, or are you farming the whole day that you look so
Oh, the kids are so mean. So now you become a mom, two daughters, 13 and 16 in their teenage crazy years. How are you handling it? And I know that you also taught your daughter guitar at a very young age as well. Tell us more about that.
Yes, both of them are playing guitar, and I am their teacher currently, and also before. There was a short time, one of my students was teaching my big daughter, but just for a short time. So now teaching my children, I realize, and I feel even more thankful, more appreciation for my father, to know that how difficult it is when you teach your own children, when you have to be disciplined with them at the same time and have to encouraging at the same time. And I started with them when they were 5 years old, but the first year was very hard, was very difficult. They didn't really want to practice much. I was busy because my situation is very different with my father. At the time, I was already traveling a lot for concerts, so I stayed at home for 1 month, and then the next month I travel again. So I couldn't spend so much time with them as my father did with me. So they study very slowly. And then until now, they're still playing, but the schooling is busy and they have other activity. And I want them to grow up as a, how to say, in the package, with sport. If they want to do sport, if they want to do painting, if they want to do tennis or swimming, if they want to hang out with friends. So I let them decide, and I don't want to force them to be professional guitarists because I don't think that is right to force. I know that they love to play guitar, but then maybe they are still young and they still can't have their decision. So they say that we've been playing guitar, we've been practice, but we don't think we would be professional guitarists. Maybe because they see it from my situation, that is lots of travel, lots of hard work, lots of practice, and sometimes I would say the reward or the result is not as expectation. You do this because you love this, not because you can be famous or because you can make a lot of money or because you can travel, because there's no guarantee for this work at all. Yeah. And the chance of being successful in art in general, I mean, compared to other jobs, is very, very less, I must say.
You're so right about that. And the work that you put in to get to your level right now, the mastery level, there's so much work. And also the maintenance, the daily practice that you have to do right now. And only a few top percentile will actually get that fame and fortune and all that, right? So you're so right about that.
Yeah, so I realized that it's not an easy journey. I did it because I love it, also because of situation. Because I feel like at some point, if I would have the choice, maybe I would step out already. But then that's why I told my husband now sometimes when I practice like 6 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock at night, and he often stay awake with me, and I tell him, I feel like it's like a burden. It is my passion. It is my love. Also, I feel like it's my burden. But I just cannot get rid of it.
Oh, wow. What about, so what does it look like for you right now with your daily routine? Tell us how much, like, I know that you've been practicing since you were 4 years old up until now, but the daily upkeep. And do you still have a coach right now to teach you guitar, or is it just you practicing on your own right now?
No, now I'm studying by myself since long time. But, in this work, the moment you stop practicing, you're out. Anything to do with physical exercise or guitar or musician is very much physical involved, right? So if I will stop for a few days, I can feel the difference in my playing. That's why I still try to maintain to practice at least 2 hours each day, at least. And if I have upcoming concerts or recording, I would do up to 5 or 6 hours. But, family life made me very busy with children, with cooking, cleaning, and then also I have to spend time for myself, for children, going out, going on holidays, spend weekend here and there, and then teaching. And now I'm also doing very regularly videos for YouTube. So everything a little bit, I have only 24 hours like everyone else. I just have to really divide it wisely, wake up earlier to do more work. So my time of practice is mostly early in the morning.
And you know what? I'm very curious about your health routine, because to have the skills and the level that you can play with your guitar where you are right now is not easy, for sure. You have to spend a lot of time practicing and honing your skill. But then the way you look and the way you command the stage, the way you play with the audience, with your look, with your gestures, it's so beautiful. Did you have to learn how to perform on stage, or how to do makeup or anything like that? Like, how do you prepare yourself to get on stage?
No, actually, I never learned any course with makeup or with acting. I guess it's all come with years, with time, and with experience. So about the look, well, I was always known to be a very simple person. You know, I study a lot. I didn't have time to go out or shopping. Nowadays, actually, I do shopping and all more, maybe because knowing that I'm gonna get old soon, you know, there's not much time left. So I try to make up. But to be honest, the whole young time, children time, teenager, and up to 30 years old, I never had time to pay attention. I was always very simple. Sometimes for the concert, I make up and I have some concert dresses. But yeah, lately, maybe in the last 10 years, I started to invest more time on how I look, to exercise. And maybe I just want to delay the age a little bit. Yes, I feel like it's very important to firstly, not just to look beautiful, but to feel beautiful, to invest on yourself, to care about yourself, because that's how you respect yourself. And being on the stage, first, to respect the audience, first you have to respect yourself. That is how you look, how you behave, and that is all part of the performing.
Mm.
And of course, I didn't have that from the early age. You know, when I was young, I was shy. I didn't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to behave on the stage. But then, thanks to all of the experience of traveling, that's how we learn, I guess. And no other better teacher than experience.
Mm.
And it's of you yesterday, you last year, you 10 years ago. And I feel like for now, I have more confidence. I know what I like to talk to people. I know how to talk. At least I'm still learning. And then about the acting, how I play, I guess it's the best way of acting is the way how you feel the music,
Mm.
how you feel it sincerely inside yourself, and you show it. And that is the best way to connect you to your music first, and then connect you to your audience.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Beautifully said. And you know what? Your physique, you keep up very well with your physique, with your health. Do you eat well? Do you exercise a lot? How often do you do that?
Well, I can say that I'm always work out a lot because I always loved it since I was young. I used to jog and swim, and now I go to gym a few times a week. And when it's nice weather outside, then I would go swimming or bicycling or jogging with my children. So yes, exercise keep me happy, give me energy. Uh, I don't think that it works so much on my body shape or make me beautiful or younger. But first of all, it make me feel good.
Mm.
So I try to include it in my daily routine
Well, you know what? Whatever
every
you're
day.
doing, it's working because you look amazing in the bikinis, in the dresses, everything.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? I actually am. I remember when I first met my husband, I was 16 years old, and we had these camping trips. And he picked up the guitar and he played the song "Romance." "Romance de Amour," I think is the official name. And oh my gosh, I fell in love with that song. And then, of course, eventually the person. But the song is so captivating. And I believe that song is the one song that any classical guitarist would need to learn how to play, or at least that would be one of their signature song, right?
Yes, indeed, it's a very famous song. If you talk about classical guitar, everyone know Romance de Amor. If you play for audience, even the people who don't know anything about music much or guitar much, they would recognize the song. So yes, I would say everyone, every guitarist, is a must learn song for
It's a
guitar.
must. But you know what? It's so beautiful. And as a I love music, all types of music, but guitar is probably one of the things that I'm most passionate about. But the classical guitar is a whole different level. Like I don't have the ear appreciation for it yet, I would say, because some pieces it sounds so difficult, so hard. And when I see you play it or other masters play it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they do that? How do they command their fingers so well? Because I play a very simple song and sing along, and it's already hard enough. And to see you like command your fingers that much, it's incredible. And yet, for me personally, because those songs are so difficult, so above my head, that it's sometimes it's hard to relate to. And when I hear you play a few pieces like Kisas, or actually, you know what, I want to share with our audience here some of the pieces that I fell in love with when you played it. This is like your Kisa song right here. Let me just play it. It's a quick few minutes here. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I share it properly with the audio. Oh my gosh! Do you see how you perform that? It's so beautiful. Not just the music, but also the facial expression, the eyes, and all that. I fell in love with this piece so much. And you composed this yourself in a you combined the classical side to the lyrical side and all that. Tell me more about this song a little bit.
Yes, you know, since I was very young, I already love all of this. I wouldn't say pop music, but it's very classic pop, especially this is a Latin song, right? It's very romantic, and the melody is so beautiful. And I remember this song also had the lyric, the Vietnamese lyric. And
Yeah.
actually, that's how I heard it the first time. So this music is somehow, beside classical music, of course, is also have a very important place in my heart since I was young. And this melody, I would always, when I sing, I feel very emotional. So I thought that I want to transfer it on my guitar because it's very it's suitable very much on classical guitar. And I know that this melody, everyone would know, everyone would feel connected. And even if you are Latin American, this song, I think from, I don't remember the original country, maybe Venezuela or Mexico, but also in Vietnam, it's a very famous song for Vietnamese. If they don't know the Spanish language, then they would remember the Vietnamese lyric.
Yeah.
And so I thought that I love this song. It's suitable for classical guitar, and I want to play it for solo guitar, because I used to play this song with my friend who play another guitar, or somebody who sing it, or violinist to play the melody. But then I realized that it's also nice just to play solo. And yes, I did the arrangement for classical guitar.
You know what? It's so beautiful. The combination, I can hear the classical side to it. And of course, plus the usual, the melodies of the usual of this piece. But what I'm really curious about is your expression, your ability to look good while you play. You know why? Because a lot of great players, including, well, I'm not a great player, like I'm so far away from it, but when I play something difficult, my mouth starts to look like this. Not my mouth and my face, I look miserable playing the piece that is difficult. And here you are looking so beautiful, so glamorous. How did you do that?
No, believe me, if I play, let's say, a very complicated classical piece, I would struggle to. So this piece for me is more fun. I do this more for fun. And maybe the melody, maybe the rhythm of the song that make me sing along, and I really feel it. But then at the same time, I didn't have to struggle too much with the music, with the difficulty. So yes, I can guarantee that I always play classical guitar like this. If you would find some other video that I play more complicated classical pieces, no, maybe you wouldn't find me so pretty anymore.
But you know what? I have seen you play other much more complicated pieces and you still look beautiful. So it's not just this, but obviously this one you were more playful and more flirty. I guess that's the word. But
Yeah,
it's
but I guess, yes, thank you. But I guess the best way to show the emotion, or we would say like the act, facial expression, the best is how you really act, really honest to the music. So with the pieces, let's say from Johann Sebastian Bach, you wouldn't apply the same facial expression, right? Because it's a completely different music, different one, or the difficulty that I have to deal with. So in this case, a beautiful expression would be, like really deep in music with the closed eyes or with full concentration. So I would say every music that you play, also you have to show differently. And sometimes you don't need to act, it just naturally, how you feel the music, how you feel the rhythm. So in the case of this song, I feel like it's floaty, it's romantic, it's beautiful. And then above all, I didn't have to struggle too much with the difficulty of music. So yes, I feel like it's just very natural.
yeah, it's so beautiful to see you play that. And you know what? You play a lot more difficult pieces. It's just that when I see you perform these ones here, it just stands out, and it makes me remember you by these songs. Actually, not the much bigger and more difficult pieces. In fact, there's one more song that I want to share, because this is one of the other ones that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Let me just play this for our audience here. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
And I know that when you have the inspiration to write these songs and write it with the classical, how do you call it? The classical flavor to it. Is it
Yes.
difficult to, like, I think it certainly have to take you to be at a certain level, certain mastery level where you can actually take the classical flavor and put it into any other songs. What do you think in terms of the difficulty level? How easy is it to create these kind of songs in this style?
Well, I would say, to make a arrangement of a pop song for classical guitar, you can make at so many levels. The easy way is just play the melody, adding the chord into it. Like many times I would play like immediately, like instantly. Then also it sounds also nice. But when I did these few songs, I wanted to make it a little bit more in a classical way with the proper arranging, a little bit more complex than just the normal chord and melody. And also I like to add a little bit the flavor of rhythm, playful, so to make it a bit more interesting. It didn't take me so long, I think. I think it's maybe just 2 afternoons just sitting there playing around, trying to change a few things. And then eventually, what I like is I didn't want to make it too complicated. So somehow it has to keep clearly the melody. It still have to keep the original harmony, of the chord and all. But then at the same time, I wanted to add some flavor of showing off a little bit of technique, a little bit of the music that I play normally is classical music, but I'm not playing just strumming. And importantly, the overall it have to come out like clearly melody, the rhythm have to be clear, and also a little bit of small little detail here and there to show that you do it properly with arranging, not just play on the spot. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's too challenging to do it, but it was fun. It was a fun experience for me to do this thing beside my classical repertoire that normally I would do.
I know. And you know what? You have a bunch of other songs like Casablanca and as well. It's all so lovely. And I can't wait to hear more of your arrangement this way. And you know what? Back to the song, which inspired me to reach out to you and ask you to support me in creating a class on this, which is called the Romance de Amour. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
saying it right, but that song, of course, there's many levels to play it. The beginner's level, like I learned how to play that song because I fell in love with it. I was able to play it in one day, but at the very beginning level, beginner's level. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I could get Thu Le to teach me how to play this song in 6 weeks, like in 6 classes, 1 class per week, I would be in heaven. I know at least I would be much better at it because the technique that you teach, because you have a lot of free videos on your YouTube channel, which are so good. By the way, I love your technique videos, the left hand, the right hand, the strumming and all that stuff. But I wanted more. I wanted something where I had a place, I'm able to ask you questions and have the time to practice, implement what you teach, and then come back next week and ask you questions. And that's the reason why I ask you to co-create this program with me and for my friends and for your fans who have been following you and loving you and inspired to play, but perhaps maybe they're concerned it's too difficult, it's too painful, and all that. So can you share a little bit of advice for those of people who are complete newbies and they want to pick up a guitar and play a song, and perhaps that song? Because honestly, when I first learned that song, I'm like, all I need to do is play this one song and I would be happy. This is all I wanted in my life. And when I was able to play it, I'm like, no, I want to play better. I want to play better. So maybe can you give some advice to newbies who are inspired, who wanted to start playing, but maybe are they scared, or maybe they think it'll take too much time? Maybe share some of your advice on your experience, please.
Well, as you said already that you can play Romance de Amour in so many levels. Like I am still playing it now sometime uh, for my concerts. I still do it. And also I have some students who just learn with me a few months. Also they learn it. But of course, every level you will learn, you will discover new thing about the piece and you will play it better. But I would say if you really, really love it, you really know that you want to make this dream come true, it is in your hand. It's not impossible. So as you said already that you can play Romance, there are more at many levels. I'm still playing it now and sometimes even in concerts. And also some of my beginner students, they also learn it after 2 or 3 months. So yes, of course, you cannot play it as well as the people who play for many years. But every time when you go back to play, as you get better, you discover the piece in another level. And it's also very interesting to learn the same song, the same piece in a different way. So if you are a completely beginner, then I would say, yes, I have to tell you that it's the pain in your fingers that you have to deal with. But that is part of the journey, that is part of the dream, making the dream come true. And also I would say, I always tell my students that is also a beauty of playing guitar, that make it more challenging, that make it not easy like piano, when you just press on the keyboard and it makes sound. For guitar, you have to really feel the string is connect directly from your fingertip, from your skin to the string, and you can really feel the vibration even in your body, in your heart. So this kind of pain is not harmful. It's to build your playing. It's the same like you would go jogging the first day, you feel pain. The next day you still feel pain, you do a bit less, but then don't give up, you continue, and then the pain will be over. So it's the pain that you have to deal with. Some technique of the right hand, left hand, or firstly to play with open strings that you need to do. I wouldn't expect you to read note, but nowadays, without reading note, you still can play so many songs, so many pieces, because you can read the tab system, just knowing what fret, what string to press. So that is already very helpful, and that already cut off a lot of the middle.
Yes, the learning curve. That shortcuts a lot of the learning curve for sure.
Yes, of course, if you want to be like a professional guitarist, then I would suggest you to do everything in order. But nowadays music is part of life. You don't need to be a professional musician to learn music. Everybody, a doctor. In fact, I have own students doing all different job too, and they play at high level, but they all do different job because they want to include music to their life. So you don't have to go through all of this. If you don't have time, if you don't have the patience to read note, you still can play your favorite songs, favorite pieces, just by learning tab. And then once you get the physical part, getting used to the guitar, hold the guitar, how to press, we can start maybe just some simple melody first to practice, and then we can already start with Romance de Amour. Of course, you will play slowly, not fluently in the first few times, but I always believe if you have the love, if you have the time, the energy, and the willing to practice, you will get it.
Absolutely. And you know what I guarantee myself personally, because I've been through it, is that if you learn the technique and if you can learn how to play this song, you can pretty much play any other song that you can sing along with, because this song gives you all the technique that you need to learn to master in order for you to play other songs anyways. And that's the reason why I ask you, is it possible for a newbie to learn how to play this piece in 6 weeks with you? And you said, maybe.
Well, maybe is a very right word, I would say, because I don't guarantee anything at all other than the pain in your fingers. That's the only thing.
That's right. The only thing we can guarantee is you will have pain.
Yes. But as we all know, we are all different individuals. We work differently. We take things differently. Some people learn faster. Some people have more time to practice. So you do at your own pace. But the good thing is After 6 weeks, you can understand things, you know how to do. If you cannot play fluently, you can always carry on, practice by yourself. And then one day, even without a teacher, you still can make it fluently. Because what I do is I can just guide you, show you. I cannot practice for you. So
Of
I always tell
course.
my student, I need a good student to be a good teacher. Don't think that you go to a good teacher and you can be a good player.
But you know what though? If my boyfriend then and husband now can teach me how to play this song in one day, and I was a newbie, I don't know how to read any notes, and with you for 6 weeks, oh my gosh, I can't imagine how good a newbie can become with you in 6 weeks. So I'm very,
Well,
very excited about that.
I am also very excited, and I must say that to teach, of course, I always enjoy and have a lot of experience teaching high level people. But then at the same time, I enjoy teaching beginners to watch their journey from the first day to the next second day, and then maybe to later stage. And I love to also tell them to record themselves, or if it is in the face-to-face class, I will record them. And then 2 months later, I show them the video. And I love to see the process of how they grow every week or after 1 month, because that also gives me so much joy. You know, it's like when you put a seed and then a few weeks later you see flowers, a few months later, and that joy is really make me feel very happy too. So this collaboration, if it happened, I would take it also as my very big pleasure to
Oh, I'm
start
so happy.
something new, and to hear the feedback and to watch the video of everyone after maybe 3 weeks and then after 5 weeks, just to see how you develop time to
Yes.
time.
And you know what, too? When you said yes to this idea that I want to create this course with you, what I find so the reason why I wanted to do this group instead of one-on-one with you, and honestly, if I were to work one-on-one with you, I don't think I'd be a very good student because I tend to not practice enough, but I love it. It's just that in a group environment, I find that the teacher teaches and the teacher can be extremely good, but I needed the peer pressure, the competition, the fun, and also to have someone else to talk behind the teacher and say, "Oh my God, she is so hard on us."
Also a place to hide, because you don't want to be the direct subject of the teacher, so you can hide.
Yeah, but having comrades, friends who are learning on the same journey and celebrating the wins and the struggles, the challenges is actually very helpful. And that's the reason why I really am very excited about this class, because I do believe that with this one class, with your basic foundation of the fingers of how to hold and how to play, and with this beautiful song, Romance de Amour, I think we're going to create a new, how do I say this? We might be killing a lot of men and women's hearts with this song.
Great, I'm
Anyhow,
excited too.
yeah, I'm so excited. Before we finish with this interview, I wanted to ask you one more question, one tip for the newbies. I believe in this class they'll get a lot of stuff, but for someone who's already at a mastery level, or at least on the advanced level where they have invested years of learning already, what advice would you have for them? Because I know that you are at the world top elite level where you travel the world internationally for concerts and for your own show. But how do you any advice for people who wants to get to your level, where they want to book you, where they want to play like you, or any advice for those mastery level people?
Well, I believe that in everything else, not just in guitar, you know, in music, in art, in every job in general, the difference between I would say, let's say 80% and 100, if there is such thing as 100%, is in detail. I always believe, you know, when you learn from 0 to 80, everything is very clear. Every step is very clear. You see a bad player and then a good player very clearly, right? But then when you compare good player with a little bit better player, it's just in the detail. Because when you get to this level, let's say 80% is already very hard. But then the rest to reach 100, I don't think there's such thing, and it shouldn't be such thing. It shouldn't be perfect. Is in the detail. So for me, I can say that for all those years I studied in conservatory with different teachers, I learned a lot about technique, about how much to practice, how do I practice, how to view interpretation. But then I can say that in the later years, maybe in the last 10 or 15 years, I started to work on more on what belongs to me, that make my music. Everything else, there's a standard. The standard for technique, if you want to play fast or no mistake or fluently. But then eventually what people remember you and seeing you different than other musicians, other guitarists, is what you bring out different that the other don't have. It could be good, could be not so good, and maybe not everyone agree with you. Then maybe it's even better, because I believe in art, you don't have to please everyone. You can't please everyone, but also you shouldn't please everyone. And I believe that just that little touch is you, is your signature, is how you want to bring this piece out differently from the other, beside playing it perfectly, no mistake, and great fingerings or whatever. I believe in that little touch that you have to create, and that part is called creativity. It's not just hard work, it's not just playing exactly what the teacher tell you. It is the creativity that to show that you are an artist, you are not just a worker, a guitar player, but you are an artist.
Oh, I
So
love this advice so much.
For this, I believe that you never finish learning. Anything else, any kind of technique, that one day you could say that, yes, I mastered this, I'm very happy, I did this. But this part that make you become a true artist, that make you get love and also make you get hate, is this the very important thing in art in general. I wouldn't say to be professional or amateur, because end of the day, what is amateur and what is professional? If you can make money with what you work, you call it professional. Maybe not, because I know that some people are professional, they still cannot make the living out of it. And some people are amateur player, they still can make a living. So I don't think that is a standard to show professional amateur. But for me, the standard is how you bring out yourself into your art.
Oh, I love your answer so much. Such wisdom in such a young lady. And you know what? That is so true all across every career, every skill. To be able to bring your own perspective, your own flavor, your own creativity into this is what it boils down to the mastery level, beyond that, above that. And you truly are an artist, a master artist at that. And the world is blessed with your music. And now my friends and I, and perhaps some of your fans who wants to learn this technique from you, will also benefit from you teaching this class and this beautiful song, Romance de Amour. So we're gonna share a link for how people can sign up for this 6 weeks class with you at tuleguitar.com. And we'll send you, we'll give you the website link, and you can just click on it and register for this class. We'll be starting on September. I have the exact date here. The last week of September. It would be September 25, 26 or so. So there'll be actually 2 classes, one in English for English speaking people, because I know that a lot of your fans are international peeps. And that's how I found you, actually, in an English speaking world, not the Vietnamese speaking world. but because you're also very famous in Vietnam and the Vietnamese people also follow you a lot, so we'll actually create two different classes, one for the Vietnamese speaking class and the English speaking class. And when you purchase one, you're welcome to attend both. It's just that you can probably, if you attend both, it means you have to work double hard. But Thu, I'm so grateful and so happy to be able to collaborate with you on this project, and to bring music, to bring this beautiful song to more people, to more women and men, and perhaps children as well, to learn how to play the guitar and to bring this beautiful piece into their life. Thank you so much.
Let's get the whole world playing Romance de Amour.
I love that. I love that. Thank you.